The sun rose gently over Abunj village, painting the sky with strokes of orange and gold. The soft crowing of roosters and distant chatter of women heading to the stream filled the air. Amara tied her scarf neatly and balanced a basket of ripe tomatoes on her head, humming a church tune as she walked down the dusty road that led to the market. Her life was simple but beautiful. She lived with her younger brother, Chitty, in a small clay house since their parents passed years ago. Amara had learned early that kindness costs nothing, and her mother's words echoed in her heart each morning. Never turn away from a hungry soul, my daughter. God hides his angels in rags sometimes. That morning, something unusual caught her eye. Beneath a big mango tree just by the edge of the road, sat an old woman. Her gray hair was tangled, her wrapper torn and dusty. She looked weak, like someone who hadn't eaten in days. People passed her by, some whispering, others pretending not to see. Amara stopped. She looked closer. The old woman was shivering slightly, holding an empty calabash in her hand. Her lips trembled as she muttered something too faint to hear. Amara's heart softened immediately. She dropped her basket and hurried to the woman. "Good morning, Mama," she greeted gently. "You look tired. Have you eaten anything today?" The woman shook her head slowly, her voice almost gone. "My child, just water if you have." Without a second thought, Amara opened her small gourd and poured some water into a cup. She lifted it to the woman's lips, watching her drink greedily but carefully. Then she opened her basket, took out 3 tomatoes, a piece of yam, and a small bottle of palm oil. "Mama, I'll prepare something for you," she said, looking around for dry wood. "Please rest here." The woman blinked as if tears wanted to fall. "You don't even know me," she murmured. Amara smiled. "I don't have to. You could be my mother." Minutes later, the aroma of boiling yam and palm oil filled the air. The woman ate slowly, her eyes glistening with gratitude. Villagers passed by, watching with surprise. Most of them had ignored the old woman earlier, but now they whispered among themselves. "That Amara girl, her heart is too soft. She will give her last grain away." When the meal was done, the woman reached for Amara's hand and squeezed it gently. "You are blessed, my daughter. What is your name?" "Amara," she replied, smiling shyly. "Ah," the woman nodded. "Amara, the one who brings peace." They spoke for a while, and the old woman told her that she had traveled from another village called a height, searching for her son who worked somewhere nearby but lost contact months ago. Her name, she said, was Mama Ngozi. "I have no strength to continue the journey," she sighed. "I will rest here for some days." Amara thought for a moment, and then stood up decisively. "No, Mama. You'll come to my home. You can stay with me until you find your son." The old woman hesitated. "I can't trouble you, child. People will talk." "Let them talk," Amara said firmly. "My late mother would never forgive me if I left you here." That day marked the beginning of something Amara could never imagine. When she led Mama Ngozi into her humble home, Chitty was shocked. "Sister, who is this woman?" "She is our guest," Amara replied. "Prepare a mat for her to rest." As the old woman lay down, her wrinkled lips moved in a silent prayer. She whispered to herself, "If only my son knew that the woman who will one day hold his heart has already held mine with kindness." Outside, the evening breeze carried the scent of rain and distant laughter from the market. Amara didn't know it yet, but fate had just woven her life into another, one that would soon change everything she knew about love, destiny, and family. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the next part of Amara's touching journey, because destiny always rewards kindness in ways we least expect. The writer removed his helmet, revealing a well-dressed young man in a clean white shirt and jeans. His skin glistened from the heat, and his eyes scanned the market like someone searching for a memory. The women nearby whispered instantly, "That must be the new engineer from the city, the one working on the borehole project." Amara didn't pay much attention. She was counting her money when he approached her table. "Good afternoon," he greeted with a smile. "Please, are you the one they call Amara?" She blinked, surprised. "Yes, I am. How do you know my name?" He smiled again. "My name is Chaik. I've heard about your kindness to the old woman who stays near your home. She mentioned someone like you." Amara's heart skipped. "Mama Ngozi. You know her?" Chaik's eyes softened. I think so. Is she tall, with gray hair and a small scar near her left cheek? Yes, Amara said quickly, standing. She's at my house resting. She said she came from me height searching for her son. The young man's voice trembled slightly. That's my village. I've been searching for my mother for 2 months now. Amara froze. Her lips parted in disbelief. You're your mother? He nodded, his eyes shining with sudden tears. I left her at home before going to the city for work. When I came back, she had disappeared. People said she was looking for me because she thought I was in trouble. Oh, God, could it really be her? Without another word, Amara packed her things and led him home. The walk felt longer than usual. Her heart thudded like a drum. When they reached her house, Mama Ngozi was sitting under the mango tree, peeling groundnuts slowly. The moment Chaik saw her, he dropped to his knees. Mama! He shouted, voice breaking. The old woman looked up, squinting, then gasped and covered her mouth. Chaik, my son. She struggled to stand, and he rushed to hold her. The reunion was overwhelming. Tears rolled freely as mother and son embraced, their cries echoing through the quiet compound. Amara stood back, smiling softly, though her chest was tight with emotion. She had never seen such a pure moment of love. Mama Ngozi held her son's face, murmuring blessings between sobs. I thought I would never see you again, she whispered. But this girl, she saved me. Chaik turned to Amara, his voice trembling. You cared for my mother when everyone else turned away. I don't even know how to thank you. Amara shook her head shyly. No need for thanks. I only did what I was taught. For the rest of that day, the three sat together, sharing food and laughter. Chaik told them stories of the city, the noise, the traffic, the tall buildings, and how he longed for peace. Mama Ngozi kept holding Amara's hand, smiling at her in a strange, knowing way. Later that night, after Chaik had gone to fetch his things from his friend's house, Mama Ngozi called Amara close. My daughter, she said softly. I saw the way my son looked at you today. Amara blushed instantly. Mama, please don't start teasing me. The old woman chuckled weakly. I may be old, but my eyes still see clearly. You will come again tomorrow. And I have a feeling, the story that started with a cup of water will not end there. Amara laughed, embarrassed, but deep inside something stirred, a feeling she couldn't quite explain. Perhaps it was just gratitude. Or maybe it was the beginning of something deeper. That night, she lay on her mat, staring at the thatched roof as the crickets sang outside. She thought of Mama Ngozi's smile, of Chaik's gentle eyes, and of how fate sometimes works in mysterious, beautiful ways. Like, comment, and subscribe to follow Amara and Chaik's journey in where kindness meets destiny, and hearts begin to discover each other. The morning sun rose softly over a bunch, painting the clouds in gold. Birds chirped from the mango trees and the smell of firewood filled the air. Inside Amara's compound, laughter echoed again. The once quiet home had become lively with Mama Ngozi's voice and Chaik's deep chuckle whenever he visited. Since the day they reunited, Chaik had refused to let his mother out of sight. He came every day, helping Amara fetch water from the stream, repair the leaking roof, and even build a small fence around her backyard garden. The villagers whispered about it. And that Amara girl. She fed the poor woman, and now the woman's son is always around her. But Amara paid no mind. She was too busy being grateful that Mama Ngozi was well again. That afternoon, Amara and Chaik sat under the mango tree, peeling cassava together. The sun. Could the handsome young engineer from the city really feel something for a simple village girl like her? That evening, the village square was alive with drums. It was a Bunj's annual harvest festival, and everyone dressed in their finest clothes. The air smelled of roasted yam, palm wine, and pepper soup. Amara wore a flowing red wrapper and a white blouse that shimmered under the moonlight. Chaik arrived in a clean white kaftan, his wrists glinting with a gold bracelet. When he saw her, he stopped in his tracks. You look beautiful, he said quietly. Amara looked away, embarrassed. You're not looking bad yourself, Mr. City Man. They laughed, walking together toward the square where people danced around a bonfire. The drums beat loudly, and the sound of the Ojin bell echoed through the night. Amara danced with the other girls, her steps graceful and full of life. Chaik couldn't take his eyes off her. Mama was right, he thought. She truly is special. After a while, he approached her, extending his hand. May I have this? Dance. She smiled shyly, then placed her hand in his. As they danced, the world seemed to fade. Only the rhythm of their hearts remained. The villagers cheered and teased. Ihen. The city boy has found his village bride. Later that night, they sat under the stars. The festival music had softened in the distance. Crickets sang, and a soft wind rustled the banana leaves. Amara, Chaik said gently, his tone serious this time. You've changed my life in ways I can't explain. If not for you, I might never have seen my mother again. You gave her love when no one else did. She lowered her gaze. I didn't do it for any reward, Chaik. I only followed my heart. I know, he said softly. That's why I can't stop thinking about you. Amara looked up, her heart racing. What are you saying? I'm saying, Chaik continued, that I want you in my life. I don't care that I live in the city or that you sell palm oil. You have the kind of heart I've prayed for. For a moment, silence filled the air, the kind that carries both shock and joy. Then Amara smiled, tears welling in her eyes. Chaik, I don't know what to say. He took her hand gently. Just say you'll let me try to make you happy. Before she could answer, a familiar voice interrupted them. Aha, so this is where my son is hiding. It was Mama Ngozi, smiling knowingly as she approached with a lantern. Mama! Chaik exclaimed, half embarrassed. The old woman laughed. You think I didn't see the way you were looking at her during the festival? My son, sometimes destiny doesn't hide. It sits right under your nose. Amara giggled nervously. Mama, please. Mama Ngozi placed her hand on Amara's shoulder. My daughter, the world turns strange circles. You helped a stranger because of love. And now that love has found you again in her son, don't fear what God himself has written. Tears stung Amara's eyes as she hugged the old woman. Chaik joined, and for a brief moment, the three of them stood under the stars, bound not by blood, but by kindness, destiny, and something deeper than all of them could yet understand. That night, long after everyone had gone to bed, Amara couldn't sleep. She stared at the stars through her window, remembering every word Chaik had said. Her heart was full, of hope, of fear, and of gratitude. Mama Ngozi's words echoed again in her heart. Sometimes, the blessings we pray for come disguised as the people we least expect. Amara finally smiled, whispering to herself, maybe this is what love truly feels like, quiet, pure, and surprising. As she drifted to sleep, the night breeze carried the faint rhythm of drums from the festival, and perhaps the soft promise of something beautiful yet to come. If you believe in the power of kindness and destiny, like, comment, and subscribe to follow Amara and Chaik's unfolding love story. The rainy season came gently to a bunch. The air smelled of wet soil and mango leaves, and the rhythmic sound of raindrops against rooftops became the village's new song. Life moved slower. The market was quieter, and streams swelled with muddy water. In Amara's small compound, things felt peaceful, at least on the surface. Mama Ngozi was getting stronger every day, often seen sitting on the veranda weaving palm fronds or humming old folk songs. Chaik still visited daily, helping with chores and sharing laughter that made Amara's home feel alive again. But deep inside, Amara carried a silent worry. Rumors had begun to spread through a bunch. People talked, as people always did. She's trapping the city man with her village charm, some said. She only helped that old woman because she wanted something. Others whispered. Each time Amara went to the market, she could feel the stares. The same mouths that had praised her kindness now threw stones with words. She tried to ignore them, but sometimes the sting of gossip was heavier than any physical wound. That evening, Chaik arrived from the construction site in a blue raincoat, drenched from the storm. He found Amara sitting silently by the fire, her eyes lost in thought. Amara, what's wrong? He asked softly. She hesitated, then sighed. People are talking again, Chaik. They say I only helped your mother to win your heart. Chaik frowned, setting down his bag. Let them talk. The truth is clear to those who see with clean eyes. But you don't live here, she whispered. You'll go back to the city one day, and I'll be left with their whispers. He sat beside her, his eyes filled with tenderness. Do you think I'll leave you behind? Amara, I came here for work, yes, but you've given me a reason to stay. My mother's health, your kindness, your strength, they've shown me what real love looks like. She looked at him, half believing, half afraid. And your family? What if they don't approve of me? Chaik hesitated. For the first time, his confidence faltered. My father, he has strong opinions. He expects me to marry someone from the city, someone educated and refined. But my heart has chosen differently. Amara's eyes dropped to the firelight. The crackling wood reflected her emotions. Love, fear, uncertainty, all burning together. Mama Ngozi, who had been listening quietly from her doorway, finally spoke. My son, she said softly, love tested by the tongue of others is the only love worth keeping. Don't let pride destroy what destiny has built. Chaik stood, took his mother's hand and kissed it. I understand, Mama. Then he turned to Amara. Whatever comes, I will face it with you. Days passed and the rains grew heavier. One morning, Chaik received a letter from the city. His company had finished the borehole project early, and he was expected to return to his office in Enugu immediately. When he told Amara, her heart sank. So soon? She asked, her voice trembling. I didn't expect it either, he replied. But I'll come back, I promise. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small wooden box. Inside was a delicate silver chain with a tiny heart-shaped pendant. Keep this, he said. Whenever you wear it, remember that my heart is with you, no matter where I go. Tears welled up in her eyes as she accepted it. I will wait, she whispered. Weeks turned into months. The rains ended, and the harmattan winds returned with their dry chill. The once green fields of Abunj turned golden and dusty again. Amara went about her daily routine, but her heart felt emptier with each passing day. She missed Chaik's laughter, his teasing, the way he fixed her broken baskets. Letters came sometimes, carried by drivers from the city, short, sweet notes that spoke of missing her, of plans for the future. But one morning everything changed. Mama Ngozi received a message from her husband, Chaik's father, that he was ill and wanted to see his son urgently. She decided to travel to the city. Before leaving, she took Amara's hands and said, My daughter, don't lose faith. The road of love is never smooth, but it always leads home. Amara smiled faintly. Go well, Mama. Greet him for me. 2 weeks later, no letter came. Then 3. Then a month. Amara's heart grew heavy. Rumors started again in the village, that Chaik had forgotten her, that he was courting a rich man's daughter in Enugu. One afternoon, unable to bear the pain, Amara went to the mango tree. The same spot where she had first found Mama Ngozi. She sat there silently, holding the silver pendant and whispering, Maybe love was never meant for people like me. The wind blew gently, carrying the scent of dust and hibiscus. Just then a familiar voice called out, Amara. She looked up, and there he was. Chaik in his clean white shirt, his face weary but full of emotion. He ran toward her, his eyes wet. She stood frozen, unable to speak. Amara, he said breathlessly. I couldn't write. My father's illness got worse. He wanted to see me married before he... Chaik's voice broke. Before he passed. Amara gasped, tears filling her eyes. Oh Chaik, I'm so sorry. He nodded slowly. Before he died, I told him about you. About how you cared for Mama. At first he was silent. But just before his last breath he said, A woman with a heart of gold is worth more than a house full of riches. He gave me his blessing. Amara covered her face, weeping softly. Chaik stepped forward and held her hand. I came back because you're my home now. Mama is waiting at the house. She's been praying for this moment. Amara looked into his eyes, searching for any hint of doubt. There was none, only love, deep and certain. Chaik, she whispered. I never stopped believing. And for the first time, he pulled her into his arms under the same mango tree where destiny had first crossed their paths. Mama Ngozi stood a few steps away, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. The same tree that sheltered a hungry woman, she murmured, now witnesses the birth of a new beginning. That night, the village gathered to celebrate their reunion. The drums beat again, and laughter filled the air. But this time, it wasn't just about harvests or festivals. It was about love that had survived storms, distance, and doubt. Amara wore her red wrapper once more, her golden hair tie glowing in the firelight. Chaik held her hand proudly, whispering, "Next time I come, it won't be for a visit. It'll be for our wedding." Mama Ngozi smiled, watching them dance. She had once been a stranger fed by kindness, and now she was mother to the girl who would soon become her daughter. Sometimes, destiny hides behind a simple act of compassion, and when the time is right, it unveils its miracle. Like, comment, and subscribe. The golden morning light streamed through the palm leaves, casting soft patterns across the red earth. It was the day Abunj would remember for a long time. The day love, kindness, and destiny would stand hand in hand. Amara woke before dawn, as she always did, but today her heart thumped with excitement. She tied her hair neatly and wrapped herself in a new, beautifully embroidered Oso-oak wrapper that Mama Ngozi had chosen for her. Outside, women were already singing and decorating the compound with flowers and palm fronds. Chickens clucked, children ran around with joy, and the air carried the sweet scent of jollof rice cooking on open fires. It was her wedding day. Chaik had returned from the city 2 weeks earlier with his uncles and friends. After his father's passing, he had vowed to honor both his father's final blessing and the love that changed his life. Today he would marry the woman who once gave food to a hungry stranger, unaware that she had been feeding her own future mother-in-law. As the sun climbed higher, the village square buzzed with laughter. The traditional drummers began their rhythm, and the talking drum echoed across the hills. The elders arrived, dressed in flowing agbatas and colorful head ties. Everything shimmered with joy. Amara stood at the doorway with Mama Ngozi by her side. The old woman looked radiant in her lace attire and gold head wrap. Tears filled her eyes as she held Amara's hand. "My daughter," she said softly. "The first day you gave me food, I was weak, tired, and forgotten. But your kindness restored my faith in people and in God. Today I stand proud, because the woman who showed me mercy is now my daughter in truth." Amara smiled, blinking back her tears. "Mama, you have given me more than I gave you. You gave me love, family, and a future." Mama Ngozi nodded slowly. "Love always returns home, my dear. Sometimes it just takes the long road." The village announcer's deep voice echoed outside. "Let the bride come forth." The music rose, a joyful mix of drums and flutes. Amara stepped out, her red wrapper flowing gracefully, her gold hair wrap gleaming under the sun. The crowd erupted in cheers. Chaik stood tall in his white agbada, his eyes fixed on her. When he saw her, his smile broke wide, a smile of disbelief, gratitude, and love all at once. As Amara walked toward him, memories flashed before her eyes. The day she met Mama Ngozi under the mango tree, the shared laughter, the tears, the separation, and now, this beautiful reunion. It all felt like a story written by fate itself. When Amara reached him, the village priest stepped forward to bless the union. "Two hearts brought together not by wealth or power, but by kindness," he said solemnly. "May your love never lack peace, and may your home be a garden where joy grows freely." Chaik placed a simple gold ring on Amara's finger. "From the day I met you, I found the kind of peace I never knew existed," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "You didn't save my mother, you saved me too. You taught me that love begins with compassion." Amara smiled, her voice calm but filled with emotion. "And you taught me that patience and faith make kindness bloom. I never imagined feeding one old woman could change my destiny." The crowd cheered as they exchanged vows in both tradition and faith, sealing their union under the mango tree. The very tree where it all began. The women ululated, the men drummed, and children danced barefoot on the red soil. Mama Ngozi sat smiling, her hands clasped together in gratitude. The same woman who had once been ignored and hungry was now surrounded by laughter and love. She whispered a prayer of thanks under her breath. "God hides blessings in disguise. Thank you for letting mine wear the face of this beautiful girl." As the evening fell, the celebration continued. Plates of rice, meat, and plantain filled every corner of the square. Music and laughter blended into the night air. Under the glow of lanterns, Chaik and Amara stole a quiet moment away from the crowd. "Remember the first day we met?" he asked with a smile. "How could I forget?" she laughed. You were the strange man asking about an old woman I thought was a stranger. He grinned. And now that stranger is our mother. She smiled, her eyes shining. Fate truly has a sense of humor. They stood silently for a while, the sounds of celebration behind them, the night breeze soft on their faces. Chaik turned to her, voice gentle but firm. Amara, I may have studied engineering, but I've learned that no design can match what destiny builds. You were never just the girl who helped my mother. You were the woman heaven made for me. Amara leaned against him, whispering, and you were the answer to the prayer I didn't even know I was saying. Mama Ngozi, watching from a distance, smiled. Her heart was full. She knew that her late husband would have approved, and that their story would live on as a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness could change generations. The next morning, when the guests had gone and the laughter had quieted, Mama Ngozi sat beneath the mango tree once more. Amara came to sit beside her with 2 cups of tea. You still love this spot, Mama, she said softly. How could I not? The old woman replied. This tree gave me shade when I was hungry, and today it gives me shade to watch my children happy. It's where my sorrow ended and my joy began. They sat quietly, sipping tea as the birds sang above them. The gentle wind rustled the leaves, whispering stories of the past, of kindness, and of the miracle of love. Amara smiled, watching the horizon. I wonder how many people walk past miracles every day without seeing them. Mama Ngozi nodded. Many, my child. But those who see, those who give even when they have little, they are the ones who find destiny. The 2 women laughed softly, content in the peace of the morning. And from that day onward, whenever travelers passed through Abunj, they heard of Amara and the old woman. A tale of compassion that blossomed into love. A story that taught the entire village that no act of kindness is ever wasted. If you were moved by Amara's story, remember, kindness can change destinies. Sparkling heart. Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heart-touching African stories of love, fate, and hope. Share this story with someone who still believes that good hearts attract miracles. Globe showing Europe, Africa sparkles.